What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Legends Rise, an Elder Scrolls Online podcast, the show where we educate players new and old about the game itself, whether it's how to run dungeons, discussing combat, chatting about crafting, posing information about PvP, gabbing about guilds, babbling about builds, and so much more. I'm your host, Marcus Axford, and with me today, instead of Lainy, because she had to step out of the virtual room, so to speak, for a little bit because patch notes dropped today and she's not really too happy right now. Instead, we finally have a host of Tamrielic Adventures, Eric Gold. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing okay, and I've always kind of wondered how long did it take you to memorize that intro?
I don't memorize it. Yeah, so to break the very thin veil here, you see how I'm looking over here?
Now,
That's my notes monitor.
I always thought you've had that down. Even like if I ever try to read something super quickly, I usually stumble over it. So,
Actually, okay, you
uh,
you do have a
props
point.
to you.
You do have a point. Well, I mean, it's like I've had the girls go, "How do you like sing so well?" Like in terms of like memorizing the lyrics. I'm like, that's not something people normally can do, and they're like, "No, people have a
Memorizing
hard
lyrics? Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people have a hard time remembering like lyrics of songs, and you just seem to belt it out just fine." I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm very privileged, I guess.
Yeah, I mean repetition, I guess, but yeah, I mean even from like the first episode, I was like, "Wow, you really have that down."
I appreciate that. You're gonna make me blush. It's a good thing that well, the podcast listeners can't see it, but the YouTube people can. Alrighty, are you ready to talk about how to solo ESO?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've done a lot of PvP stuff to the glee of Lainy and all of the other PvP people. But, Mid-Year Mayhem's over. We've done our, which, you know what I realized as I'm doing all the labeling stuff? I'm like, oh, I actually didn't mean to call it, was it Tales from Cyrodiil? I meant to call it Adventures in Cyrodiil. So we're just, next time we have another story dump like that, that's what we'll call it, and then we'll do a different name for the next one. Instead of doing, Tales from Cyrodiil 1, 2, 3, whatever, we'll just, do it that way. But,
Tales, adventures, it's all good.
yeah, yeah. Well, we've got a lot of Tales titles. Tales from
Yeah,
Cyrodiil,
true.
Tales of Tribute, Tales from Tamriel,
Yep.
and a book by the same name that I believe is... Yeah, there it is. Tales of Tamriel on my shelf back there.
When I was doing my getting my podcast together, I had to Google just to see if the name was taken, and thankfully it wasn't. I was originally going to call it like Flynn Runners or Sujama Runners or whatever, because my Nintendo co-host was starting an Atlas podcast, and he was calling it Rum Runners. So I just wanted to make a joke about. I'm gonna, because he wasn't talking about Nintendo on the show. He'd always talk about Atlas. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start an Elder Scrolls podcast and call it Flynn Runners or something like that. And obviously, he didn't get the joke, but yeah, I was lucky that Tamrielic Adventures was not already taken.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised too. But actually, I was surprised when Jinjar said, so Legends Rise is actually taken on the EU PC server. I'm like, that's weird. So, we're gonna be covering that. Lainey was like, haven't we already kind of covered all of this throughout the last several months? Which, obviously, yeah, we've done the questing beast, we've done all kinds of things like that. But, this is a very common question I see, like, in Facebook groups and stuff. It's like, how do I solo this game? I don't want to play with people. I don't care about PvP. I don't necessarily want to even run dungeons with people or anything like that. So, today, we're going to answer that question of how you play this game, just like you would Skyrim. So, before we get into that, We want to remind you that Legends Rise has an amazing Discord community, and you can find the links for that on our Twitter or Facebook at Legends Rise ESO. We also have an Instagram where we post pics of our adventures, and also going to be, well, no, I'll mention it in the Patreon part because it's really hilarious. We also have an Instagram. I just said that. We're already off to a great start after a couple weeks break. Where we post pics of our adventures, and you can find that at Legends Rise ESO as well, and we are on YouTube at Legends Rise ESO channel. So if you're listening to this through our podcast, you can find the links to all of our stuff in the description, and vice versa if you're watching on YouTube, including a link for the Discord. We also have a Legends Rise Guild network we are building called the Council of Legends. Currently, we have Xbox NA, PC EU, and now finally we have PC NA. So if you're looking to join any of those, I run the Xbox One, Lainy runs the PC NA, and our favorite Brit Jinjar runs the PC EU, which shout out to him. Haven't heard from you in a little while, buddy. What's going on? He's been dark in the Discord, so I'm like, oh, I hope everything's okay. So, yeah, if you hear this, buddy, just let us know you're doing okay. Our podcast is on Bonus Roll Productions, which is like this roster of podcasts that you can give ratings and reviews for. Which did you get yours on there? I think
rating or review.
Yeah. Did Shanty? I think it was Shanty got a hold of me about putting our show on their feed. If you haven't yet, I would talk to Shanty about that. I didn't know if you had yet or not.
I don't think I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's like a Yelp for podcasting, so check us out as well as all of our other ESO content creator friends at bonusroll.gg and give us all the stars and reviews. And also, don't forget to rate us on Spotify and give us reviews on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. We'd like to start shouting out some more people. So if you do leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we'll definitely be reading those out and giving you guys a shout out. So
it's something that literally takes 5 seconds to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't say I'm not guilty of listening to all my other favorite podcasts and them going, do this, do that, and I'm like, but that's 5 seconds I'm never gonna get back in my life. But I really need to start being better about supporting other fellow podcasters, because you know what? This isn't easy.
No.
I swear to God, every single episode I have some sort of audio thing go wrong. Like, you guys may think that the echoing music for the intro is really cool. Again, spoiler alert, that's a mistake. I don't know what's going on with that music. But I'm like, you know what? It sounds cool. I don't care. If it sorts itself out, then so be it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just talking for an hour. Believe it or not.
Yeah, getting together scripts and not stumbling. Where was I? Oh, yes. Okay, that was on purpose. We also have a Twitch channel. Come check me out at Legends Rise ESO. I don't have a clear schedule, but if you subscribe to our Twitch as well as follow us on Twitter, I try to give people a heads up on when I'm going live. I stream Tales of Tribute. You can also watch me lose my temper on Tales of Tribute. I do that thing of I'm like, why? That's so stupid. Like, I'm talking out loud and I don't even realize it. And then I realize I'm streaming. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's like if the opponent grabs the card you were hoping to get on the next turn, it's like, oh, you.
Always rally. It's always rally. Like, oh my God. Anyway, I stream Tales of Tribute, other ESO stuff, and even non-ESO stuff like Sea of Thieves, and a lot of it is not safe for work, just an FYI. We do a lot of dark jokes, and
Okay, you and I need to play Sea of Thieves sometime, because that's something I've started to play a little bit more.
Oh, Kenny would love that. Absolutely. We have a lot of fun. Because you get flags for the top of your ship, and it was so funny. I didn't even think about it. Now, keep in mind, I am technically part of the LGBTQ community, but it was just so funny how there was a gay pride flag on top of the ship. And I said to Kenny, get aboard. We're going to go hunt down the gays. And Kenny's like, oh, my God. Of course, not meaning it that way. It's just, we're going to go hunt down the players that have
See, I thought you were going to make some sort of joke about the skellies and be like, we hunting some bones.
No, and the hilarious thing was I was on stream doing that too. So, yeah, I get it. Sometimes our humor's not for everybody, even on this show. But we obviously it's all in good fun. We try to love everyone equally, but some people just make it really, really hard.
Yeah, true. Especially if you're sailing the sea and you're saying, "Hey, we're friendly," and then they say they're friendly too, and then decide to shoot you.
Yeah, we've had that. So, if you love, Sea of Thieves and other games, and, it's a nice break from doing ESO stuff. But finally, if you love listening to us here and want more, you can go to patreon.com/LegendsRiseESO, and for $5, less than the price of a Thanos one-piece swimsuit, which I have seen a girl on my Facebook feed wearing. I think she's another Twitch streamer that I can't even remember how I know her, but Christy Boss, I think it was on hers that she was wearing it. And what I was about to say about Instagram is I'm gonna start posting these every week, a picture of what I'm talking about. Just
I was gonna say, I've never seen that before.
well, if you are following the Instagram, you will. I know I don't post as much as I should. It's just sometimes a lot of it's hard to me to remember to go, oh, I should screenshot that. And I guess while I'm mentioning it before we wrap up on the the whole rigmarole of plugs, I do want to start a photo club or a screenshot club for the Discord, so people can share all their really cool screenshots, and maybe do something to where we put them to thread lists. So if you want a mug or something with your screenshot on it, you can do that. So I thought that'd
be cool. Yeah,
I thought that'd be really cool. So, you could get a lot of cool stuff on the Patreon, like shoutouts, ad-free, and early episodes of the show, and more. You help us improve the show, meet our personal goals, and keep the lights on. A big thank you to Jacob Byers and Leah Palmer Rye for your contributions to our Patreon page. And yeah, like I said, we will start posting pics of these odd items in our Instagram. So, with all that out of the way, let's get to it. We actually have quite a list to go through. So, first, I will start off by saying that seeing as it is an MMO, you will never get that, truly alone feel like you do sometimes, like with Skyrim. But I would say that 75% of the game is completely soloable without having to rely on other players. This also includes a lot of dungeons too, but we'll get into that here in a second. I will also say that a number of these will get their own episode, but I'll just be repeating myself in the future at that point. But I kind of already repeated myself a lot already, so what does it matter? Okay, let's start with the obvious. Yes, questing. Of course, questing. Mm-hmm. You can do questing with friends or by yourself. How much?
And there's an unlimited amount of quests to do, so
thousands.
There's always more added.
I think I can say thousands. I know it's definitely hundreds. Maybe thousands? I don't know. I'd actually have to look that up.
I will say that I really wish that there was no limit as to the number you can accept. That gets to be a pain in. Because you've got a bunch of quests that you've accepted, and then you want to go craft stuff, and you can't accept any more quests because you're capped. So.
I don't know if I've said this on an episode yet. It would have been a good junk drawer piece of information, but since you mentioned it, that is a thing where you get capped off at 25 quests. So, especially as a solo player, keep in mind, as you're roaming around the world, you're going to be tempted to, again, treat this like Skyrim or Oblivion or whatever, and pick up quests left and right, and you can't do that. You only have a maximum of 25, and So your logbook is going to fill up very quickly.
Yeah. So if I come across some random side quest exploring around, I usually don't accept it unless it's right in front of a dungeon that I'm about to go into, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be completing this anyway. We might as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If I'm actually just running through that particular region trying to do something, I don't. But obviously, if I'm actually working on doing the region, I see it, I pick it up immediately because I don't want to this happened to me recently, which was hilarious. I had a quest in Shadowfen. Now, to give you an idea of why that's significant, I completed all of Shadowfen like 2 years ago. and I ran all around that region. Like, I mean, I do every region. When you're going getting sky shards and which
Mhm.
we'll talk about here in a bit, you eventually find all the quests. You run into everything. Because, quest markers pop up on your HUD at a pretty good distance. So it is quite rare to like do that and you've cleared an entire zone and you still have like one random quest out in the wild. Considering of how much of time I've spent in that ungodly place. I hate
Well, if you've
Shadowfen.
spent that much time in Shadowfen, if you've done everything, what brought you back there?
Oh, um, it must have, I don't know offhand. It must have been for an antiquity or a treasure
Uh,
or something like that, because the nice thing is yeah, you have those things that bring you back to old areas in the game,
yeah,
like
like
the
you'll pick up a lead for there. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
So, which, again, one of the main things we'll talk about here. But yeah, questing is the big staple for solo content, which, if you haven't listened already, of course, we cover a lot of this in the episode, The Questing Beast. But there is tons of hours of different quests and stories. Granted, you'll be missing out on some quest content if you're hellbent on staying out of PvP, like in Cyrodiil and Imperial City, since there for Imperial City there is a post Molag Bal quest line, which I'm not, because it's PvP, kind of like how a dungeon quest is. It's sometimes hard to follow it, but you can follow it enough to where you can understand that. And I guess Imperial City's been out for just so long, so it's not
Yeah,
really spoiling. It's just a gist. Obviously he's a Daedric Prince. He's not really defeated or dead. You go in to Imperial City and you do these quests and you complete the district, like you would any like area in the region of Tamriel, and eventually you get to the finale, which I'm not going to spoil, obviously, but it's basically, yeah, Molag Bal is trying to achieve the plane meld in a different way, or he had a backup plan or something like that, and this is where you're finding it out in. It's really cool. I do recommend
yeah,
this quest line if you can stomach. Like, if you go in early morning, there's not a lot of people, or if there are, they usually understand that, okay, these people are probably questing. So, like, it sucks that you're kind of tied to a time, but you do get access to a really cool Molag Bal brazier, which I can't remember if it's you pay for with Telvar or gold. I'll have to re-look it up because I know it's like 20k or maybe it's 50k gold. I can't remember.
yeah. It's like, well, and after playing so much of Oblivion, I did a lot of my shopping or like selling stuff in the Imperial City, so it is really cool to see in the second era. Only I wish it weren't overrun by huge world boss, level monsters. That, but yeah, I mean but yeah, basically you're trying to drive out the forces of Molag Bal, and then you're also trying to help your team, keep these certain like bases. So that's where the PvP comes in, and also you can help somebody kill a world boss, and then they'll kill you for the points, like
Yep.
the Telvar.
Yep.
So
Yeah, we talked a lot
yeah,
about that in the last few weeks of PvP episodes. I've had a lot of cool moments where I've tackled or helped them, especially as a tank, um, you know, get the world boss killed, and we just all walk away with our loot. You know?
Yeah, some people are cool and won't like stab you in the back like that, but not everybody's cool.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and for the record, by the way, these are in no particular order. These are going to be kind of a little bit all over the place. But yeah, again, final verdict on that, questing is absolutely your biggest thing you can do, and most of it is player free. Again, you're still going to bump into players. It's going to suck. You might be doing a one of the quest bosses for like the finale or something, and you'll have another player that killed them just before you could land a hit, and then you have to wait for them to respawn. It does suck, but at the end of the day, you're still in an MMO. You're still going to have to interact with players, but you don't have to, like, play with players, if that makes any sense.
yeah.
You have to deal with them. You don't have to play with them. So, next on the list is housing. Now, as of this episode's release, I will probably have the new schedule posted, because I did forget to mention we did take a week off because we wanted, well, I posted this on Twitter, but that, you know, we wanted to get a week off so we can get scheduling done and kind of get ahead on notes and kind of be prepared for the next, you know, couple months of content. We have, including this one, 9 episodes planned, and there's going to be a week off in there somewhere for my vacation. But housing is, I believe, we have it scheduled for October. So, because I wanted to kind of keep with the whole I think October is supposed to be crafting basics, housing, for the whole, like, theme of, oh, it's fall, you know, we craft things in fall, and we want to decorate in fall. So, you know, housing, because I wanted to catch that before the holidays to give people ideas about decorating their houses. Because you do get Halloween-themed stuff and Christmas stuff and all this other cool things. And then, of course, werewolf vampire episodes will also be towards the second half of the month. So look forward to those. We're finally getting to it. It's exciting. And, of course, it's going to be the holiday season, so that's even more to celebrate. But, yeah,
I don't want to make my Nord character a werewolf now that you're mentioning it, because I got 2 vampires, but I don't have any werewolves on Xbox.
I can bite you. I do have lycanthropy on my tank because I'm trying to make a PvP version or alter ego to go into the armory. So I did get my Oaken Soul. I got my Oaken Soul, and I'm going to be running Molag Kenna, which Quintus was like, that's a very actually interesting choice. And yeah, I like Molag Kenna because, like, especially as a werewolf, you're light attacking, or at least I am.
I'll have to take you up on that, because I haven't played a lot with werewolf.
Yeah, couple. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really fun if, yeah, you and I did PvP werewolf tunes. And because I've been wanting to get into PvP a little bit more. I used to be into it quite a bit, even if I was just roaming by myself. It was a lot of fun, but that sounds like it'd be a good time roaming around the countryside as werewolves. Just ganking random people. But
back to housing, though, I had a goal of having a house in every zone at one point in time because I wanted the free fast travel. That was basically the only thing I used houses for. Now, am I misremembering this? But even if you walked up to a way shrine at one point in time, they would still charge you. Did that change? Or was that always free if you walked up to a way shrine and traveled to another way shrine?
Oh, yeah, it's always been free.
I thought they used to try. Oh, okay.
In fact,
I thought they used to charge you.
No.
Maybe it was.
No. It's in fact, I believe. Yeah, we talked about way shrines in the junk drawer episode, where if you're going from a random location to a way shrine, you have to pay. From way shrine to way shrine, it's free. So
the more that you do that without going to a way shrine, they'll charge you up more and more and more.
Or if you're going from your house, doesn't matter where, because I don't think I actually mentioned this, you cannot take a way shrine to your house. Which I guess I can understand, because there's no way shrine in your house, so you have to port to it. But that also means that your cost goes up. So that is something, because I know, like, specifically the PV players talk about bugs that are in the game that just have been there forever, and Zos tends to not fix them or whatever. But that there are a couple things on my end, that I do kind of have an itch about, and that's kind of one of them. That by now it's like, shouldn't that get like fixed or whatever? I had another thing happen with Tales of Tribute that we're actually going to be adding this to the etiquette episode, and we're also going to be doing that here soon, where I was so close to winning. I was about to end my turn to win the game, and they conceded. Now, the problem with that is when you're trying to do your daily, it counts for your reward, but it does not count towards your daily.
That sucks.
Yep. So I was a millisecond too slow on gaining a win towards my daily, which sucks because then you have to spend like 10 or to 15 more minutes, depending on how the fight goes, what decks are picked or whatever, to get that win that you need. And yeah, I was so mad. I was mad enough to send a ticket in. And I might still be mad enough to tweet. I don't know. I was just really upset because I'm like, this seems like a massive oversight that it does not take any fixing at all.
Yeah.
Just,
so they basically rage quit on you.
Yeah, they did. Which, big etiquette thing that I know I'm gonna repeat myself on, but don't do that. Do not, unless you 100% have to, do not concede from a Tales of Tribute match. Because, like, God help the other person if they are also trying to do their daily of getting 3 wins on fellow players, and then you've just robbed them of that. So it's kind of a dick thing to do. But getting back into housing,
I know some games used to implement some sort of punishment for that.
Well, they do. They do punish you, but it still doesn't matter. The real punishment is on the person who won.
Right.
Being robbed of your damn, so it takes that much longer. And, you could then lose 3 more times before you finally get that last win you need. It's,
Yeah.
But, anyway, so, we'll do just...
I imagine you'll talk about decorating in the housing episode.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. Because, I have Halloween pumpkins and cobwebs I'm trying to save my ambitions for the actual holidays. Because we'll just do a brief overview for this episode. Housing being the true end game is always the joke, but in all reality, for solo players, housing really is the true end game. A lot of solo activities progress your housing abilities.
Yeah, a lot of you'll get a lot of housing decorations from questing. So
yes. High Isle actually gave us, 2 or 3 housing items?
Which I still need to place in the Hall of Lunar Champion, because that's mainly what I've been using as my house.
Yeah.
When I actually go there.
Yeah, I've spent hours just moving stuff around and decorating my house and stuff. I've done this over and over, moving houses, doing the whole big moving day. And crafting's part of that, which is all stuff you can do solo. Antiquities is part of that, you can do solo. What I'm trying to think what else on the list is part of that. Doing thieving stuff. You can pickpocket wanted posters that go in your house. So there's a lot of things that deal with housing that are strictly soloable. So there's some things that you might need to go in with people, if you need to get a lead. I know that there's the one lead in Depths of Malatar that I think is the chandelier or whatever. So it's not all hey, I can completely avoid people, but just such a vast majority of it is. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else with housing we can cover now that we're not going to dig too much into, but I think that's pretty much the gist of it. So
you could probably do an entire episode just on the Hall of the Lunar Champion.
Yeah, you get houses there's some houses you get for free, and you do get an inn at the beginning of your adventures that you get for free. So yeah, housing is just, it's so cathartic. But we'll like I said, we'll get more into housing here soon in a couple months. I'm really excited for it. Moving on to the next thing. This is probably the one and only time I will go into this specific topic, because there's like, it does not warrant its own episode at all, unless I'm mistaken and I start getting a bunch of hate mail. Fishing.
Yes.
Probably going to be the one and only time we actually talk about fishing. Because, yeah, it's not really big enough for its own episode. So we'll actually go into the entirety of fishing right now. So fishing, for one thing, is automatic. You go up to ripples in the water. It's pretty easy to spot a fishing hole. And
usually a little fish popping out of the water.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you don't have a fishing rod equipped. It's just a thing your character does passively. It's not like Minecraft where you have to craft a rod or buy a rod or whatever. Kind of like the shovel. That your character just happens to have a shovel for some reason. So, so that's it. I actually do not entirely remember, because it's been so long since I fished. There's largely not much of a reason to fish.
There's a lot of achievements with fishing. I don't do it a lot myself. Now, you do have a better chance of getting something good with the proper bait, because there are multiple types of fishing bait that you can use, whether it's foul bait, saltwater, lake bait, whatever, river. And you can use the fish you catch for provisions. I want to say there are some that you can actually display. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure there are some like rare fish that you can put on display. But yeah, a lot of it, like, there's achievements for getting every type of fish in every different zone. Like I said, I don't do a lot of it myself because fishing bait takes up inventory space, and
unless you have your crafting bag.
Yeah, which I don't at the moment, unfortunately.
Blasphemy.
But yeah.
Get off the
now, if I do
blasphemy.
take advantage of the free ESO Plus trials, then yeah, I do fish every so often. But yeah, like I said, it take I plus. Yeah, you basically just sit there and wait for a bite, and then you reel it in. Like, there's no skill to it. You just have to hit a button within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I'm actually in Gonfalon Bay right now trying to find a fish, because yeah, what I was saying was, like, I don't remember the last time I fished. I'm actually just now realizing I don't remember what fishing looks like. Cuz yeah, like, there's only really one. There's a few reasons you do go fishing. Yeah, you go get fish and you fillet them or process them, whatever, and you get, it's a provisioning material. You also have a chance of getting perfect roe, which is fairly rare. You have to actually really be fishing hardcore, getting stacks of fish to maybe get, if you're lucky enough, maybe 3 or 4 perfect roe out of each stack. And why can't I find a fishing spot in a goddamn bay? I don't understand this.
Honestly, I don't know if I've come across any in Gonfalon Bay.
I'm looking around, and there's it's like, but it's a bay. Like, I've come across one in a puddle before.
Yeah, there's plenty of water. I mean, there's plenty of clams and everything else, and birds that trying to think of the birds you can shoot for chicken, for poultry.
Oh, yeah.
The herons or whatever. But yeah, there's plenty of those, but I don't know if I've actually come across any fishing spots, now that I think about it.
Yeah,
which is weird.
This is actually... Oh, wait. I found one. Here we go. Need bait. So yeah, you'll come up... This is actually kind of handy. So yeah, you'll come up to a fishing hole, and it'll even say... See, back way back when, you actually had to figure out what kind of water you were in, and you had to figure out what bait you needed. Now, thank God, it's all like, oh, this is a lake fishing hole, and it actually shows you on your wheel of bait. So like insect parts are river bait, crawlers are foul bait, guts lake bait. There we go. And now I press A to go. Wait, what? Oh, that's right. I forgot. Ember doesn't like fishing.
Oh, yeah. She complained to me once too, saying it was really boring. There's better things to do.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm remembering how to fish. So yeah, you're gonna feel like I don't know about mouse and keyboard. Well, obviously there's no vibration there, but you know, you're gonna feel vibration. You're gonna see the bobber go down. It is kind of like Minecraft, where you're pretty much, you know, when you're gonna reel in, and but yeah, it is kind of boring. But you do.
And it's a little bit more complicated in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, so I've noticed. So, but yeah, it does involve the hardest achievement to get in the game, and that's Master Angler. It's not that getting all of the fish for each region is that hard. It's just extremely time consuming. So, for that achievement, you need to get, I believe it's every single type of fish in every zone in all 3 alliances plus Cyrodiil. And then...
Wait, you can fish in Cyrodiil?
Yes, you can.
I did not know that. I would imagine it's not the Imperial City. It's
No.
The battle area, yeah.
I mean, I think you can fish in Imperial City. If you can, though, it doesn't... That's not what the achievement goes for. Because, obviously, this is a achievement from, you know, the very beginning. So, actually, can I find Master Angler on here? I could just be like, you know, oh, look, Master Burglar. I could just be like a normal person and just look it up on the computer. But, you know, I like to take everyone's time. How we all do tonight. How's everybody doing? Oh, it's not gonna... I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
I know one person who's gotten it.
I've seen a couple of people with it, but yeah, it's, again, it's like, I don't even know what kind of monster would be able to, oh, that's not the Master Angler, I mean. There we go, Master Angler achievement. No, that's, can I just, oh yeah, okay, so... complete all fishing achievements for Covenant, Pact, Dominion, Cyrodiil, Cold Harbor, and then the 3 starting areas, Stros Mackay, Canarthy's Roost, and Black Rock.
Wow, so, Cold Harbor also.
Yeah, you get the title Master Angler plus the Slaughterfish Flesh Pink dye. That you will wear with pride because... because
you worked your butt off for that.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much it for fishing. I mean, we've talked about fishing holes, the bait, the achievement, the perfect row. There's also, you can fish out some housing items like seaweed and stuff like that. It's totally a thing. I've done that when I was fishing out in Somerset. I've nabbed a couple things, but so it ties into housing a little bit, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's one more thing you can do.
Yep.
Moving on, normal and some veteran dungeons. That's right. If you're geared right, you can tackle most, if not all, normal, I would say base game dungeons by yourself. And if you're a really good player, there's even several vet dungeons you can solo. There are, and I don't know if I put it in my notes. I don't think I did. There are some dungeons you cannot solo at all, even on normal. The one that comes to mind is Fungal Grotto 2, because that second boss, she holds you down with shadows of herself, and that's an insta-kill mechanic. So yeah, you absolutely 100% cannot solo that. I don't think. I think there's people who probably have, but we're obviously talking about, like, casual to, like, medium core kind of people. I'm assuming there's some combination of, like, maybe a Dragon Knight note when they know exactly when that thing's gonna come about, so they drop all of their AoEs and hope for the best. Or they kill the boss before she even does that mechanic. I'm not saying there aren't ways of doing it, but of course we're talking about the filthy casuals out there who just like to have a little bit of fun.
Which would be me.
Yeah, and me too. You might ask, why would I solo these? And aside from the possible gear, the biggest reason is probably for the dungeon quests, which, again, I don't actually remember if we talked about dungeon quests on the questing beast. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but dungeons have their own distinct story quests as well, which come with a skill point on first completion and provide a big story boost to the overall lore depending on the content. So I don't remember. I think it started with the Year of the Dragon with Elsewhere, where the dungeons were actually, like, part of the story. Because before that, I believe you had like Moonhunter Keep and stuff like that. So they were their own individual stories. They didn't further along like how they are now, where it's like this next set of dungeons that's coming out. Or actually, I think they're already out on PC.
Yeah, they just came out on PC yesterday. I think yesterday.
Yes. So like those continue the story that is being told to us throughout the year. So before Elsewhere, they didn't do that. They were all just their own individual things. But a lot of those stories are still really cool. I would say continuation of story quests for those started with the original base game dungeons, because I think the base game dungeons only had like one dungeon. And then eventually they came out with, so like, you know how there's Fungal Grotto 1 and 2? We only had Fungal Grotto 1 in the beginning, if I remember correctly. And then later on, they're like, oh, here's the sequel, basically, to these. And it continues on the story of the cliffhanger of the first one. So, like, at Fungal Grotto, the, quote, cliffhanger is, oh, they opened up the temple. And they're like, okay, we don't need you anymore. And then when the new dungeons came out, it was you returned to find out the consequences of those cultists. And you rectify it. And I think even some of those dungeons still have ongoing, like they still add to them, and we still see characters like from Celine's Web, we got to see Celine again, in Blackwood, I believe, in those first dungeons.
Okay, gotcha.
I think so. A lot of really cool story stuff that's worth diving into, even if you are playing with people. Which is hard because people like to just breeze through. So that's the benefit.
I mean, you will find other dungeons just around the zones that you can go into, like solo delves. So those are also something neat.
You know, that's actually not a bad segue. Where is it? Where is it? Did I not... Oh, I just put them as a footnote. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about delves and public dungeons. So, I mean, as the name implies, public dungeon, yes, you're going to run into people. But those are dungeons that you don't have to, like, keep up with a party. It's just it's a step below a regular 4-man content dungeon. I guess it would be kind of difficulty-wise, it'd be between a delve and a 4-man dungeon, and you can just go in there. There's like upwards of 8 somewhat difficult bosses to fight in there, and if you kill them all, you get like the Conqueror achievement for them, kind of like you would for like veteran content dungeons. And there's a group event in those in every one of those public dungeons. There's one public dungeon per zone, and sometimes 2. So like High Isle has 2 public dungeons to go through, and you get a sky shard in them in both delves and public dungeons, and you get a skill point in public dungeons for completing the group event as well.
It is nice that you don't have to actually be grouped up with somebody to do these, because I've played MMOs where you do. Like, if you go into something and you're not in a group, you're alone the entire time. Like, I remember one of the first times I played Elder Scrolls Online, I went into one of these delves, and the boss just kept handing me my head, and then it took me outside again, and I see somebody walking. I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm not going to be alone this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just all depends on how you're geared. Obviously, we're not necessarily talking about new players. You could be champion, 500, 1,000, and still be like, I just don't want to play with people. And even sometimes veteran players of the game don't necessarily know what all they can do that doesn't involve. That does sound weird, but I've encountered like max levels. I think this was back when it was max level 810. Players that never played a basic dungeon before. They're like, so we're like in oh god, what's the dungeon? It's not Darkshade. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's in Oridon. They're the Banished Cells. God.
oh,
I think it was Banished Cells 2 or whatever. And the guy's asking, what are the mechanics? And I'm like, it's Banished Cells 2. Your CPA 10. How do you not know the mechanics? Have you never played this dungeon before? They're like, no, I don't play dungeons. And I'm like, wow, that's really fascinating. So, before you listen to this and go, Marcus, you're so stupid. Of course a veteran player is going to know everything. No! I mean, you figure I've played since near the beginning, and there's still stuff that's been since the beginning of the game that I don't even know. It's a big game. We're never going to stop saying that. It's a big game. So, and delves are, they're symbolized. Actually, I should probably, mention.
paintbrush?
It's a torch, but yeah, paintbrush.
Oh.
That's pretty much what I go by. It looks like a paintbrush. I'm trying to find... Why am I looking in places I've never been to?
That's not you mentioned. It does. I can see the torch because where the bristles are, it's flames.
Yep.
Okay.
It's straight up looks like a paintbrush. I know they're trying to go for a torch, but yeah. So the paintbrush. So those are delves, and usually there's anywhere from like 6 to 8 depending on the region. And yeah, you just go in there, you get a sky shard, you defeat a boss. Oh, actually, there is something while I'm looking at it that you can participate in, but again, depending on what world events. So depending on what world event you're doing, like you could do a Dark Anchor by yourself, especially, at this stage in the game. They're super, super easy. And that's often how people level up, which we've obviously discouraged unless you're, a veteran player and you know what you're doing and why you're doing it and stuff like that. But we discourage the dolmen grinds. But still, it's a good way to get jewelry. So you're doing which I'll be giving that tip in October for your crafting. Dolmens are a good way of getting jewelry to do your jewelry crafting. And again, those are all soloable. Things like Harrow Storms, dragons,
no,
not soloable at all.
Would not recommend that.
No, if you're geared really good, like the Abyssal Geysers, the volcanic vents.
Yeah, volcanic vents, I wouldn't recommend that either.
Oh, really?
Well, when I've tried, I didn't do well.
To be fair,
it was a new character, but yeah, some of those big guys are tough.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm a sap tank, so I can solo pretty much most world bosses that don't heal themselves, Merkmeyer. God, don't do that to me. So, yeah, I would say that. Yeah, and world bosses. World bosses, if you're geared right, you can solo those as well. You don't need people. It's nice when people come around to help, but you don't need people to solo or to take one down. I'm not going to say that all of them are like that, because again, I have talked about the Mire Gaunt in Murkmire that heals itself. There's one world boss in the Imperial Sewers, which, yes, is a PvP area, but it has, like, this vampiric drain that heals itself to full health, and it's just like, oh my god, I hate bosses like that, but I get that those aren't meant to be soloed. And I will say right now, just because you can solo a dungeon, the content wasn't meant to be soloed. It was meant for 4-man or whatever it is. So, but we're just here to let you know that there's stuff that you can solo if you want to experience stuff like that on your own. And if you keep dying over and over again, re-gear, come back. If you make it farther, cool. You know? It's actually, dungeons can be a really, like Fungal Grotto can be a really good proving ground for a build. Whether it's, healing, tanking, does not matter. It is actually a great way to practice without pissing random people off. So yeah, I think that wraps up on Delves and Public Dungeons. Going back to the top, resource collection and world collectibles. Yep. So this is probably one of the most cathartic things to do in the game. Pick a region to wander and gather up resource nodes for crafting, as well as come across chests, Psijic portals, if you've acquired the Psijic Guild skill line, and maybe listen to your favorite Elder Scrolls Online podcast while you do it.
If I don't really feel like dealing with enemies and I need resources, I usually go to Artaeum. It's just wandering around, you won't really encounter a lot of enemies, and there's plenty of stuff to collect. So if you don't want to, if you want a little stress-free place to explore, go to Artaeum.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice. I actually didn't put that in my notes. I put Artaeum in for another reason, which we'll get to in a sec. But for resource hunting, no. So we will get into crafting materials more in the coming episodes, like I said. But resource farming is vital at any level for any reason, especially if you're into housing. Resource nodes provide you with base crafting materials like wood, stone, cloth, but they also occasionally provide respective crafting materials for furniture like bast and regulus. You might even come across super rare items, especially if you're resource farming in Craglorn. So yeah, or if you want to earn gold and you're okay getting your hands dirty with, a little bit of, player interaction, you can get to Master Crafter and you could just make furniture to sell to people or make armor to sell to people, make sets, make bank is what some people do. They'll acquire millions of gold because that's all they do. So again, great thing about
ESO. Go buy a new house.
Yeah, great thing about ESO is you could pick a path and you could just go with it. You can make that your career in the game. You can be the top-notch PvP player. You could be the best at dungeons. You can run with the best in trials. You can be a crafter. You can be the best now at Tales of Tribute. You could just go around and do Antiquities. And yeah, if you want to be a content creator, you learn to do that and make videos and all kinds of stuff. There's so much to do. But speaking of Craglorn, some good areas to farm are in Craglorn for Nirnhoned, which is a very expensive material. Hrothgar for chests and Eastmarch for nodes are a few of my recommendations. I mean, you can really farm anywhere. But for some reason, the Nordic and Orcish places seem to have more. Like, Hrothgar has a ton of nodes and a ton of chests. So does Eastmarch. Don't know why. Just do. And I would know. I've been all over this damn game. DLC areas seem to kind of sort of lack in specifically chests. Oh, except I will say Hugh's Bane is another one. I have done I wake up, there was one point because I was trying to farm for more Barahas. I would wake up in the morning and my ritual was get my coffee, sit down, fire up ESO, and do the entire run around Hugh's Bane. all of the chests you can hit. Sometimes I'd hit the resource nodes, but I would do all the chests because it's early morning, no one's on. Well, I shouldn't say no one. I'm not the only resource runner out there. I've seen, like, last time I did it was like a week ago, and I saw 2 or 3 people running around, and I'm yelling at, they can't hear me. I'm yelling at them, like, go away! Go away!
Stop taking my resources.
This is my swamp.
Yeah.
This is my chest. I don't know you. For those King of the Hill fans out there. So,
Bobby, why did you let them touch you like that?
So yeah, it's a very cathartic thing to do. It's a lot of fun. And when you collect, like, say, a bunch of, especially if you get your crafting up to max and you're acquiring, like, rubidite, if you're getting, like, stacks and stacks of that stuff and you refine it, you have the chance to get purple and gold resource materials. And if you're not necessarily interested in golding out your gear, you could just turn right around and sell that stuff. And again, make bank. So I never do because, you know, I like to save it for if I do a build change, and then I should have all of the stuff I have there anyway, but except for jewelry, because chromium plating is disgusting. It's wholly hard to get. I have 1 piece of gold jewelry, and I just need to gold the other 2. I'm never changing my build. Unless something really, really, really good comes along, I'm not changing off my sap build. I'm just not. That's another episode I can't wait to get into, is doing builds. Okay, moving on. Antiquities. Again, another topic we'll have an episode on, but we'll touch briefly here. Antiquities are your best friend for odd house items, and they are the only way to get mythic items. I'll end up repeating myself in the Antiquities episode, but since I don't know when that will be... Yeah, I don't know when that'll be yet, because we still haven't scheduled it. I'm always afraid, like, oh, do we have enough content for the next month or 2? And then I make out the list, and I look at the long episode list I've still got. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're fine. But
Antiquities is something I need to do more of. I've done a little bit. Like, I've collected a few things here and there, but that's something I need to do more.
It's so much fun. I love it a lot. In fact, I
feel like a historian just going around digging up, like...
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just really, again, another cathartic thing to do. I'm just gonna sweep away my dirt. There we go.
Archaeologist. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Oops, I hit the item too hard. It's going to break. But yeah, I need to catch up because it's like I haven't done any of the list for Blackwood or aside from Oak and Soul. I haven't done any of the other High Isle stuff, which I want to, because I hear you get a druidic provisioning station, but you have to, like, go hunt down all of the pieces for it. So that's something I might do when I'm bored. But anyway, since I don't know when that'll be, I'll give you guys a tip right now for leveling your scrying and excavation. And Eric said it with the resource stuff. Go to Artaeum. It is the smallest area in the game, and all you have to do is do a green antiquity lead. It'll lead you to a blue one. You do the blue one, you do the green one again, it leads you to a blue one, and it just keeps going. Not only that, I don't know if I actually covered this way back in the How to Get Gold episode. I'm sure I did. I had to have, because you make bank when you're leveling your excavation scrying for the first time.
You can sell a lot of that stuff if you don't need it.
Yeah, because you just dig up all these treasures. But that's not the point of all of it. You're trying to level everything up to max level. Because at max level, you can get really cool shit, like the Rothgar Anvil that I have. That was really hard to find the lead for. Oh my god. Some of it's just luck. RNG Jesus. So, moving on, because I know we're getting a little lean on time, but that's okay. We're having a good time today. Stealing and murdering. And my notes are as follows. Because who doesn't love getting rich breaking the law?
Pickpocketing is not something I've done a lot of in ESO. Murdering, yeah.
Yeah. Go get the Blade of Woe or be a vampire, and it makes your life so much easier when you're trying to deal with Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild stuff. You can, like I said, for housing, you can get wanted level posters. If you're really damn lucky, you'll get Gorath's Shivering Cheese, which is like worth 100K or something. I don't know. I'm almost just tempted to go find it at a vendor and buy it, because I'm never gonna find it. It's kind of like we talked about picking up rare crafting materials off of nodes. The Ethereal Ambrosia. I've played this game for years. I've never picked one up. And I have spent... first guild I was ever in, I was the one doing all the resource runs for the guild. And our guild leader goes and picks up a few random notes, picks it up. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of funny that you're the one doing all the resource runs and you haven't gotten one yet. And I'm just like, I'm going to murder all of you. Oh, my God.
By the way, if you do go on a murder spree, do not take Isabel or Miri or Bastion. Does Ember care if you kill people?
I think she might even encourage it.
I think she does. I know she encourages thievery, but she actually, no, I don't think she would care. And it's like, you have to keep doing more and more successful, like burglaries or murders and not get caught.
I mean, I'm about to find out. And
she doesn't like it when you...
she gets XP from it!
She doesn't like it when you submit to the guards.
Yeah.
Like, no, you have to let them kill you.
Yeah, she doesn't like that. She does, yeah. But, no, I just murdered somebody, and, yeah, she got experience, but, like, nothing on the rapport, no plus or minus or anything like that, so.
Yeah. Isabel doesn't like it, because she's a holy knight.
Yeah. It'll be really cool if our next companions, they do, because it seems like we've gotten a lot of, like, goody-goody people. I mean, even Ember, she's not, like, bad. She's not goody-goody either. She's just kind of whatever. But it would be really cool if we had, like, a Dark Brotherhood companion.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, before we move on to that transition, just real quick, murdering, stealing, again, ways of getting money, which we've talked about in the gold episode. Another thing you could just go around and do, just break into houses, steal stuff, have a good time. You could do it with friends too, but I've spent plenty of hours just doing that by myself.
And again, it's very easy to do if you're a member of the Dark Brotherhood or you're a vampire. I will say, though, if you feed on too many people as a vampire, people will start to notice. I believe. Yeah.
I need to put... Well, no, because I need to save it for my alter ego, I think. I still haven't figured out quite how the armory works. Because I was going to say, I kind of want to get vampirism again, just to, like, check and see what happens if I stay at, like, stage 3 and see if I get any benefits. Maybe I'll read some articles on it, but...
I want to say shopkeepers won't deal with you if you're a high enough level, like your bloodlust or whatever. Like, if you feed on too many people, they'll start saying you're a monster and won't sell to you or repair your stuff.
I mean, that would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, I know I probably should have actually opened up with this at the top, because having them does make soloing a lot easier. But we're going to go into companions a little bit. And not for lack of trying, because I haven't really, I have Ember with me, and I've had Miri with me, but I haven't actually, focused on, working with companions yet, if that makes any sense. Actually having a companion, fighting build and outfit and all that, or I probably actually have to go out and really grind to get their level up or whatever. So companions, honestly, you guys probably aren't going to hear a companions episode until next year. Like maybe February at the earliest. I don't know yet, but it's like Tales of Tribute. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm hoping to get everything. Well, I should have everything done by Christmas. So I'm hoping November, December, you guys get to see the Tales of Tribute episode as well. So yeah, companions. You just have to go, find them, which is pretty easy to do if you're questing around Blackwood or High Isle. Embers is really fun. I actually really like her.
That quest was awesome.
Well, it
to
was
recruit her.
the area too that it was in was really pretty. The whole of High Isle is just amazing because everywhere you look, all the biomes are different and all the areas are different, and it just in a way it almost feels more real or familiar than other areas I've been to in the game. Especially when you're going along the mountain pass and you look down and you can see the All Flags Isle down below off in the distance. Gorgeous. I love it. So yeah, companions are really good. They offer bonuses. They definitely offer help in fighting, and you can take them into dungeons. So actually, yeah, I probably should have mentioned those more to the top because I forgot about that. You can take them into dungeons with you. So it makes your life a little bit easier. You can have them as healers, tanks, DPS, whatever.
You get experience points for anything they kill, which is nice.
Yep.
But yeah, we were kind of mentioning this earlier. They all have their own likes and dislikes.
Yeah, they do.
So Bastian hates cheese. Miri hates you collecting insects for whatever reason. Most of them hate murder. Not all of them, apparently. Yeah, it's the cheese and the insects thing I thought was kind of odd. Yeah, Ember just doesn't like it when you fish and when you submit to the guards, apparently.
Yeah.
So, no, you're supposed to fight them, but I can't do any damage to guards. Which I always thought was weird, because you can kill guards in every other Elder Scrolls game, but not this one. But
Yep. So moving on from there, we've talked about World Boss. I will say, with companions, if you're into it at all, you still want to do it, but you don't want to deal with people, role-playing. You can role-play with your companion. Hell, you just role-play that your character has an origin story. That's more flavor you can add to the game. Not really much else to say on it. It's just something you can do. We have a couple more things left. Sky shard hunting. I know we haven't necessarily talked about sky shards yet. You'll need skill points in order to get more skills and morph them. And aside from questing, the best way to do this is via sky shards. Every 3 giving you a skill point. And like I said, you do the group event in public dungeons, and those will give you skill. The dungeon, if you complete a dungeon for the first time, that gives you a skill point. We'll probably repeat it when we get into because I do want to talk about skill lines in depth, so we'll do like a skill lines basic and kind of go over some stuff. But I think oh, and of course the final thing being, of course, the new thing that came out is Tales of Tribute, another thing you can play by yourself. You don't have to play with people if you don't want to, although it doesn't really matter. Like, it's basically playing against a really hard AI kind of thing, but again, totally optional to play against other players. You could just play the NPCs and that's it.
Yep. There's daily quests that goes along with Tales of Tribute where you can win 3 matches in different zones. I can't remember what the other guy offers, but yeah, there's daily quests that go along with that.
There's the defeat 3 fellow players for the daily, and then the other one is defeating players in different NPCs in different areas is that one.
I haven't really played against other players yet, but I do the NPC runs.
Since I don't, so. I would say a pro tip: try to get on in the mornings when you have weaker players on. It sounds awful, but that's what I do sometimes, not always, and especially, like, I try to stay off on Saturday because there's a reason I call it Sweaty Saturday. Ooh.
Now, I mentioned this on my own show that for whatever reason, it's really hard for me to get into in-game card games like Pazak or Caravan or Gwent, but I actually really enjoy this one. Like, I've really started to like it. So it took me a minute to figure out all the little mechanics, but yeah, I've think I've really gotten the hang of it, and I really enjoy it. So, like you mentioned, some games seem to last forever, but yeah, it is fun. I do enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm having a great time with it most of the time. Well,
Not when people rage quit.
yeah, yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't go to Ravenholm. So, I think that wraps up our. We kind of went a little long on this one, but no, not too bad actually. Only a few minutes over what we normally go over. So, I I don't know if that's the entire list, but it's definitely should be enough for everybody to look at and go, okay, I want to go off and do this. I want to go off and do that. There's definitely enough here for people to kind of, you kind of munch at and stuff like that. So that's it for this episode of Legends Rise. Thank you all so much for joining us. And remember, if you want more stuff, you can check out our Discord. Once again, the links to those are on our Facebook and Twitter at Legends Rise ESO. Come be a part of the fun and make some new friends. And if you want more of your experience, you can go to patreon.com/Legends Rise ESO and become a Legends Plus member. Music is Sons of Skyrim Epic Metal Remix, edited by me and performed by Brandon Strader, and you can find him on YouTube and Facebook at BESTRADER. That's Best Raider. Alrighty, Eric, where can the fine folks find you at?
You can find my personal pages on Twitter and Instagram at IanGold08. I do 3 podcasts. I do Nintendo, which is all things Nintendo. I do Tamrielic Adventures, which is about Elder Scrolls lore throughout the entire series. And I do a show called Tapes from the Waste, which is all about Fallout lore. So those have their own handles. You can search them, they'll come up. And also on Discord here.
Yay. Yeah, you can find Eric in the Discord as well. And you can find me on Xbox at Everyone's Problem, spelled with a 0 and no E at the end. Come hang out with me on the North American server, or if you aren't up for ESO, come join us on Halo, COD, Minecraft, and a bunch of other stuff, like Sea of Thieves as well. That's a big one for us. So, any last thoughts, words, anything?
Just go out and have fun. That's what the game's like. Have fun with doing whatever you want to do in the game. That's the great thing about this. You can do whatever you want to do and have fun with it.
Absolutely. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we will see you in Tamriel.